Murder investigation launched after baby's death. A murder investigation has been launched following the death of a baby in Westminster. Met Police officers were called to Horseferry Road at 7:30 Greenwich Mean Time following reports an 18-day-old baby had fallen from height at a residential property. Following the baby's death, a 43-year-old woman was arrested at the scene on suspicion of murder and remains in police custody. Detective Chief Inspector Alison Foxwell, who is leading the Met's investigation, said, "At this stage, we believe the incident occurred within a domestic context, but we are appealing for anybody with information to come forward." Following the incident, a guarded police cordon was erected on Great Peter Street, just off Horseferry Road, which was closed to traffic. Forensics officers have also been seen at the scene. Foxwell added, "Our thoughts today are with the baby's family. The death of an infant is always an extremely tragic occurrence, and officers are making urgent inquiries around the circumstances on a quiet street where the houses stood close together and the nights were usually peaceful. Flashing blue lights broke the silence. Neighbors watched from behind curtains as police cars lined the road. What had once been an ordinary home had suddenly become the center of a tragedy no one could fully understand. Inside that house, investigators began the difficult work of piecing together the final hours of a baby whose life had ended far too soon. The news spread quickly. A murder investigation had been launched after the death of an infant. For the detectives arriving at the scene, the moment carried a heavy weight. Investigations are never easy, but cases involving children always leave a deeper mark. The smallest details become important: the position of a toy, the temperature of a room, the timeline of who entered and left the house. Every piece of evidence could help explain what happened. Lead investigator Detective Maya Rahman had worked many difficult cases during her career, yet she felt the familiar ache in her chest as she stepped through the doorway. The house was quiet now, far quieter than a home with a baby should ever be. On the living room floor lay a small blanket decorated with faded stars. Nearby, a plastic rattle rested against the leg of a chair. To most people, they would seem like ordinary objects. To investigators, they were part of a story waiting to be understood. Outside, crime scene tape fluttered in the wind. Neighbors gathered in small groups along the sidewalk. Some whispered softly, trying to make sense of the tragedy. Others simply stood in silence, shocked that something so heartbreaking could happen in a place they believed was safe. Detective Rahman knew that speculation would grow quickly. In cases like this, rumors often spread faster than facts. But her job was not to guess. It was to find the truth. Inside the house, forensic officers carefully documented everything. Photographs were taken from multiple angles. Evidence markers appeared on tables, near doorways, and beside the crib in the baby's bedroom. Every detail mattered. The crib itself stood near the window, pale moonlight falling across its rails. A mobile with small animal shapes hung above it, gently spinning whenever a breeze passed through the room. It was a scene meant for comfort and innocence, now surrounded by investigators searching for answers. The baby's death had been reported earlier that morning. Emergency services had rushed to the house after a call for help, but by the time they arrived, it was already too late. Medical staff quickly realized the circumstances were unusual, prompting authorities to begin a formal investigation. When a child dies unexpectedly, officials must determine exactly what happened. Sometimes the cause is natural. Sometimes it is accidental. But when evidence raises questions, investigators must treat the situation with the utmost seriousness. That was the case here. Detective Rahman reviewed the timeline with her team. Who had been home that night? When was the baby last seen alive? Were there any signs of distress or unusual activity? The answers would not come easily. Cases like this unfold slowly, step by step. Interviews must be conducted carefully. Medical examinations must provide clear findings. Evidence must be analyzed with precision. Each part of the process helps investigators move closer to the truth. Meanwhile, the community waited. Local reporters gathered near the police tape. Cameras pointed toward the house. Headlines began appearing online, each carrying the same painful words: "Murder investigation launched after baby's death." For many people reading the news, it felt impossible to imagine. A A baby represents beginnings, first smiles, first steps, a future just starting to unfold. The loss of such a young life shakes the heart of any community. Inside the police station later that evening, Detective Ramon sat at her desk reviewing reports. The room was quiet except for the hum of fluorescent lights. She knew the investigation would attract attention. It would also require patience. Justice, especially in cases involving the most vulnerable, depends on careful work. Rushing to conclusions could risk missing the truth. Every witness statement, every forensic result, every medical report would help form the full picture. Somewhere in those details lay the answer to what had happened in that quiet house. As the night deepened, Ramon looked at a photograph taken earlier by the forensic team. The crib beneath the window, the soft toys arranged beside it. A place meant for comfort had become a place of questions. She closed the file gently. The investigation had only just begun, but one promise guided every step forward. The truth would be found, and the smallest voice in the story, the baby who could no longer speak, would not be forgotten.